All right, it is now 4 p.m. on January 18th, 2018. I call this meeting to order, and would ask everybody at this time to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time I'd like to introduce everybody that is here in attendance. To my far right, the left of the camera, is our Secretary, Amy Lucio. To my immediate right, the camera's left, Commissioner Ron Goodgame. On the telephone from sunny Florida, Commissioner Joe Balboni. I'm Commissioner Steve Wood. To my immediate left, Chief Dean Rondo. And to his immediate left, Captain Mark Livy. We do have a quorum present. And at this time, I will entertain a motion on the minutes from December 21st of 2017.
I move we accept the minutes as written.
We have a motion to accept and seconded by Commissioner Balboni. Is there any discussion on the minutes?
Looks good to me.
Seeing that there is none, I'll entertain a vote at this time. All in favor of
Aye.
approving the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are approved. Chief, if you'd like to proceed with the monthly reports.
Thank you. So, gentlemen, I have some end-of-year statistics, and I just want to go over briefly the fiscal year 17 budget one last time, as well as the
Batteries off here.
a brief review of the brand new fiscal year 18 budget. So I am going to start, and those documents are in your slide decks. I am going to start with the incidents year to date for 2017. So this will conclude fiscal year 2017, and you'll see in December we were down 2 less incidents from the preceding month of November. So we went from 48 to 46. That's a 4.16% downturn. And that's due primarily to the holiday season and things just around from about the middle of November through December remain, relatively quiet. So with the offenses now as part of that, remembering that there are multiple offenses generally in every incident, we had a total of 69 offenses. So 46 incidents, criminal incidents, that resulted in 69 offenses for the month of December. Arrests, we also saw a downturn for the very same reason. We went from 23 in November to 18 in December, so that's a 25% decrease. Behind that report, and Alyssa, I have sent to you the arrest reports along with Brendan, so you can see the arrests in the offenses for which they were arrested. So, having said that, and just let me get the next slide, will be collisions. Okay, we'll do traffic stops next. Thank you, traffic stops. My slide deck's out of order. Traffic stops for the month of December was 127. Traffic stops down from 180 in November, and again, that is typical for about that 6-week period of time from about mid-November to December, and that was a 29.83% decrease. Also, bad weather has a tendency to impact that as well, as there's less people traveling. So, in terms of the traffic stops, we issued 6 tickets. And that's a 14.28% decrease in the month of December, and that was total fines meted out for the month of December was $496. So not too bad. You have the background data if you want to review those. Collisions for the month of December have risen a little, 30% increase from 10 to 13. So even though it's a 30% increase, it's not an overwhelming sharp increase. And a lot of these are representative of what I would, at this time of year, representative of what I would call minor fender benders. So these are people backing into each other and so forth and so on, because people are shopping, because we got snow embankments, people can't see things, so forth and so on. Accidents by street name, you have that background data, and there should be no mystery. It's all the usual, what I call the usual suspects, you know, North and South Main Street and Center Street. I've included in your slide deck an overview of the activity for the officers for the year and for the month of December, so you can review that at your leisure. And that's a great snapshot of the department's activity for the year and also for the month of December. The detective's report, you'll see where he carried over 3 cases from December, and he's picked up 8 new cases this past month, and the cases below on your detective's report represent the cases that he's presently investigating right now. So 2 elder abuse cases, 1 burglary, 1 vandalism case, 1 child abuse case, 1 sexual assault, and 1 prowling stalking case. He's closed 63% of his cases this month. Percentage of cases that have resulted in arrests is 13%, and percentage of cases closed year to date is 69%. So again, very good statistics for the detective. School resource officer's report is enclosed, and you'll see pursuant to his report that he's very busy. And I just want to call your attention to, if you go down to about the 7th column down, assist to other agencies, 38, and these would include to our patrol, other patrol divisions in the area, DCYF, JPPO, and others. So that's a lot of assistance to other agencies. So that's he's very busy up there. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention. You also have the year-to-date personnel analysis report for the entire police department. And a couple of things on this. If you jump out to the totals down below, look at the number of traffic stops made in 2017, 2,421. That's a lot of work. There's a lot of, I mean, the guys are really focused on slowing people down, trying to stop distracted drivers. That's an awful lot of, the guys are out there, they're busy.
So you're gonna, can you attribute a fairly substantial percentage of that to the grant work?
Yeah, there's about 25% of that is attributed to grant work, and that would be Operation Granite Hammer, Granite Shield, the DWI, initiatives that we work through, highway safety, speed enforcement, pedestrian crosswalk, safety enforcement grants that are run through highway safety. So absolutely, about 25% of that is attributed to that. But this is that's a pretty high number. I've never seen it that high before, and that's good. I mean, that's a good number. The guys are busy. Look at the number of criminal incidents for the year, 594. That's a lot. That's and you're going to see later at the end of your numbers that that's over 1,000 offenses. Over 1,000 criminal offenses. Those are busy numbers. So why? That's a nice segue. If you look at your slide deck, you're going to see a slide like this. It's what I call the quad chart, the dreaded quad chart. And if you take a look at that from 2016 to 2017, we saw a 7.53% increase in motor vehicle crashes. And in motor vehicle stops, we're looking at a 43.68% increase in stops. So on motor vehicle work, we've almost, not quite, but we've almost doubled our motor vehicle efforts at trying to keep people safe and slowing people down. So that is quite an increase. If you look at, and Commissioner Goodgame, I'm going to bring this one to your attention. If you look at the lower left quad chart titled Arrests, you'll see that we had a 12.06% increase in arrests. We went from 316 to 353. 12.06% increase, so that's pretty significant. And then look at incidents from 2016 from a high of 478 to this year, 2017, 584. The 22.176% increase, again, that's really significant. So this is a nice snapshot of where we're at and just how busy we're going now. I'll give that to you, Alyssa, so you can get that out. But that's a nice overview. And those statistics, just to let everybody know, those statistics are also going to be in the end-of-year report that I wrote for the police department that went into the end-of-year report to the town manager's office. And that is something I do want to report to you gentlemen, that all those end-of-year reports have been submitted to the town manager's office. So, for your background data, relative to every law that we enforce to include town ordinances, gentlemen, you have a complete listing and a breakout by category of all the offenses that have occurred in the past year, and you'll see where it's 1,036. 1,036 offenses, so that's pretty significant. What does that really mean? It means we're busy. Moving on with that, Mr. Chairman, if I could go into the chief's items.
Please do.
Commissioner, do you have a question?
One second.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on any of the,
Well, I do, I mean, I'm not too good at math, I'll say that. But if we look back at the incidents, and we show a 22.176% increase in 2017 over 2016.
Mm-hmm.
But I note that it's only 6 more in 2017 than in 2016.
no,
Have I got that wrong?
yeah,
Huh?
106.
584, 478.
You're going from 478 to 584?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you're right. Okay, now I got it. Now I see what you're Excuse me.
No worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, no problem, no problem. I do have one item for non-public, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And so under personnel and the budget, the captain and I conducted 4 internal budget reviews for all 3 of our budgets, PD, dispatch, and ACO this past month, so we were busy. We have briefed the FY 2018 budget to the town's budget committee once on 28 December 2017, and we attended the final budget committee review on 9 January 2018. Our police budget is up 2.67%, which I don't think is too bad. I am not expecting any major issues this year. The town's deliberative session is scheduled for 6 February 2018 at 1900 hours at the Great Hall. Stay tuned for additional information in the weeks coming. The town vote is scheduled for 13 March 2018. So this is where I'm going to say, get ready for the Ides of March. E tu bruti. Come on, that was funny. According to the town finance officer's database, the Wolfeboro PD spent approximately 98.317% of its allocated budget in fiscal year 2017. We finished the year in the black and not in the red, so that was good. Approximately $22,000 was turned back into the town and will come off next year's FY18 tax burden. We will discuss this more in detail during my end-of-the-year budget review. All of our fiscal year 18 grant submissions were approved, and we are now conducting the same type of additional enforcement operations that we did last year. These grants will run until the end of September 2018, when they'll be renewed again. We continue to prosecute the Christina Fay case. The case is now with the county attorney's office after she has requested an appeal. We are providing support to her with both Attorney Brown, which is out of the town council's office, and Attorney Morgan. Stay tuned for more information as this case develops. This month, 19 defendants responded to 23 charges. Of those 23 charges, 14 were found or pled guilty. 5 charges were placed on file pending good behavior for 6 months or more with diversion and education components to their sentence. 3 were sentenced to medical and/or psychiatric treatment. The conviction rate for trials pleas this month is 100%, with approximately $8,223.73 in fines, penalties, and restitutions meted out. Crime does not pay. The department is continuing its enhanced speed enforcement operations in the following areas: North Line Road, Beach Pond Road, with a focus on the area between Pine Hill Road and North Line Road, Center Street, North Main Street, and 109 East, I'm sorry.
None of us got page 2.
Oh,
I go from 1 to 3, and so does he, and so does he.
Yeah,
We have
that's
page
okay.
2?
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going, that's all right,
yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
that's all right.
This is based on data collected and analyzed by our radar trailer and citizen complaints of speeders in the area. We will continue our efforts in these areas until we are sure that speeds have come down. If you travel these roads, please be mindful of the speed limits. More so now, since the weather has turned colder and snow and ice will invariably be following. Please stay safe. And along with those same lines, many of you know, certainly you gentlemen know, that, and as does the captain and the rest of my staff, I'm a weather buff. I'm an amateur meteorologist, if you will. So there should be no surprise here when I tell you that starting in about the middle of November, you can expect one bad storm about every 10 days. I mean, and that's really what it is. You're going to get a nor'easter of some flavor or an Alberta clipper coming in about every 10 days. We just had one. You can time it. You can mark it off on your calendar every 10 days. So please, folks, keep your eye on the weather, okay, because it is going to turn bad, and please slow down. Interestingly enough, the captain and I did a Coffee and Connections session with the chief, and we were complimented by a citizen on a high profile on North Line Road and Beach Pond Road. He was very appreciative of that. So I thought that was great. And that's exactly why we do it, to essentially slow people down. So moving on, training for the month of December. I attended our counter narcotics and addiction course. Detective Shane Emerson attended background investigation course. Eric LaRochelle completed work zone operations. And Mary Swift attended a 2-day RAD training. And RAD means rape, aggression, and defense training, so that was good. In dispatch, Michelle and Kenneth and Mia conducted field training operations, and for dispatcher Maggie Frazier, who was actually going through the FTO training, so all that went off just fine. Outreach and matters of interest, the captain and I spoke on Wolfeboro Community TV this past month. As you know, the captain and myself once again addressed the budget committee on our FY18 budgets. The meeting went well, and there was plenty of good, honest, and frank discussions all around. They have a tough job to do, and I respect them for doing it. And I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your support during those meetings. It was very, very important, and I'm glad you were there. The captain and I met with our town manager and his staff on the evaluations of the 15 or so architectural firms which have submitted proposals for the construction of a new public safety building. Additionally, we met with that team to interview the final 3, and the town manager has selected LaValle and Bresinger Architects out of Manchester for the needs assessment. So we are intimately involved in that assessment. There will be more information. Just so you know, we did meet with those architects for a day, and we went through a very thorough process, which is still ongoing. And they sent over structural engineers and architects to look at the public safety building. And that was done concurrent to the meeting, so it was nice. It was a nice team approach. So we sat down with the planners, and the engineers and the architects went and took a look at the building, and now the next step in the process will be to complete a needs assessment for the entire public safety building to make determinations. Can the building be rehabilitated? Do we have enough space to expand, if expansion is required, so forth and so on. So that'll be the next step in the process. The needs assessment is scheduled to be completed on or about 30 June, and at which point in time it then will end up back in the court of the town manager and the board of selectmen. So stay tuned, more to follow, and I will keep the commission informed of the process and where we stand. Yes, sir.
With the new building project, are you taking into account being able to process defendants at this new station as
That-
opposed to Ossipee?
That's correct, that is exactly, yeah, yes, the answer to that is yes, and we're, this firm actually does a lot of public safety buildings, and they have a lot of experience in that. And one of the discussions, and that's a great question, one of the discussions came up, what's a need versus a want? And quite frankly, the architect said, yeah, we'll tell you what a need, we'll tell you what the need is, meaning the architects, we will tell you what the need is, town of Wolfeboro, because we're gonna go pursuant to federal law and what you need. You know, so for example, you need the processing area, you need jail cells, you need sight and sound separation for your juvenile holding areas, male and female, so forth. So we'll tell you what you need, we know what you need, versus if you want something, we'll talk about that, but recognizing the fact that it's a want and not a need. So that was good. It was a great discussion. Yes, sir.
So this will be an attempt to eliminate an officer being out of town, going to Ossipee with a defendant, and then making a return trip.
Yes, I mean, for all intents and purposes, yes, absolutely. I see it being efficient in that manner, being able to process here in Wolfeboro as opposed to, but I still see the need when you have a combatant or a combatant prisoner, or you have somebody that requires.
So 9 out of 10 times.
That's correct. That's correct. We'll be able to work right here in Wolfeboro, and it'll just make things a lot easier.
Right.
You know, and a lot, you know, and it's not about just being easy. It's about being efficient. It's about being efficient and cost savings. So there will be a cost savings there. The captain and I continue to be regulars at the men's breakfast meetings each month, as well as the boss meetings. I continue to serve on both the Governor's Committee for the Humane and Ethical Treatment of Animals and to serve on Senator Bradley's legislative committee seeking to strengthen the state's animal cruelty laws. It is truly an honor and a privilege to serve on such lofty committees, and I'm happy to report that both are moving in the right direction. Jake Quimby and I had a discussion on the radio as part of our new initiative with Wolfeboro's very own WASR and Jake on the Lake, Jake Quimby. He is our on-site and online radio personality for Wolfeboro. It was a great talk, and I look forward to moving this to a talk discussion followed by online call-in and talk on topics of concern. The captain and I attended the town manager's department head meeting held in December. And lastly, I want to invite the public to be our guest on Coffee and Connections with the Chief. The Wolfeboro TV community show entails the captain and I meeting with other members of our department and speaking with various groups of individuals on Wolfeboro Community TV at local area venues while discussing various community topics of interest. If you would like to be on or want to sit down and discuss something with us, just call or send an email to Tim or Peter at Wolfeboro Community TV, or call the captain and I at the Wolfeboro PD and express your interest, and we'd love to have you on. And we had 2 people on today, in fact, and that was good. That was unexpected, and it was good. And so, moving on with the budget.
What did they want to talk about? Just curious.
One young lady who's a teacher at the school, and here's what I'm gonna say, well, tune in and find out. But she wanted to talk about a program for special needs children and adults who may be challenged and wander. So we hear somebody that has dementia or Alzheimer's or may have some other disability, and she wanted to know if we had anything like that. And I said, yes, we do. We actually started the program about 2 years ago. Detective Sergeant, or Correction Sergeant Guy Maloney heads up that program. It was really his initiative, and we have a packet that you fill out, and all the information goes in that packet. So if we do have a situation, the dispatcher knows exactly where to go to pull the packet, and all the information for that individual is right there, and they can pass that very quickly on to our responding personnel, both fire, EMS, and police. So that was one aspect of it. She wanted me to also come in and talk to her students during career day. I'm more than happy to do that. And the other gentleman had questions relative to disposal of pharmaceuticals and sharps specifically, and was asking for a friend who couldn't attend and said, hey, how do I get rid of these and what's the proper procedure? And then he was very thankful and appreciative of traffic enforcement efforts on North Main Street and Beach Pond Road. So again, very unexpected, but always great to hear that. And I followed it up, and something I'm going to say to our viewers right now is that, look, I'll be the first one to admit that we don't always get it right. And when that happens, I need to know, so we can go ahead and fix what isn't right. So if somebody is unhappy about something, whether it's a police response or they have a good idea or whatever the case may be, I want to hear it, okay? And I got to know how my men are doing. If we're not doing well, I got to know. And so I can go ahead and fix it and put corrective action in. I mean, that's what we do, right? We fix problems. And so when we don't get it right, I need to know. But if we are getting it right, equally, I need to know that. And that's important, and here's the reason why. Not because it's a mutual admiration society, but I need to know what I'm doing right so we continue to do it right, okay? So if I'm getting it wrong, I need to know, and if I'm getting it right, I need to know. So I appreciate it. The feedback is always very appreciated. So, Mr. Chairman, yes, sir.
1 second. Melissa, before we go any further with the budget, do you have any questions relative to the chief's items at all, or anything that we've discussed so far?
Not that I have to have answered.
Okay, sure.
So the first budget I want to go through, this is the budget appropriation for the fiscal year of 2017. So you see when it was run on the 11th of January of this year, but it's for 2017. And so the first number I'm going to call your attention to is if you go down to the general fund total on page 2, you'll see where we finished the year in the black, if you will, which is to say we had money that's left over, and we were on 98, almost 99% spent. And I would say that we had some challenges this year with the budget. I think we overcame and we adapted to those challenges, and we were able to lift and shift and adjust our spending to deal with that. I'm very pleased with that final number. I think it was a very well executed budget this year. I'm not just patting myself on the back, but I know the captain did a lot of hard work and reining in certain areas that needed to be reined in, and I was very appreciative of that. We also did budget reviews about every 14 days up until the end of the year. So I think on the police side, we did pretty good. Again, we're turning in approximately $22,000 total. If you look at the dispatch budget, again, it's almost exactly the same expenditure in the total. And with the ACO, we went over budget in ACO, and that over budget was as a result of the Tina Fey case. So there's no mystery there as to why it was overspent. But we were able to make that up with unexpended appropriations in the dispatch budget. So that was good. So again, we're finishing the year in the black and not in the red, which is where you want to finish it. And it's always a balancing act, you know, because things change. We have unexpected financial requirements, and this year, a couple of the notable ones, and I'm sure the captain will be poking and prodding me, but we had the windstorm where a number of antennas blew down, and there was some other damage, and that got to be quite costly. We had 2 electronic radar emergency light bars fail on us, so 2 of them had to be replaced. So that was quite expensive. So the 2 of them was what, almost $7,000?
Yeah, almost 8,000.
Almost $8,000. Yeah, just over. So again, these are unforecasted financial requirements, and we have to deal with that. And the way we do deal with it is we look to areas where we have some cost savings, and then we try to manage and budget appropriately. And sometimes it's a real balancing act. And those were just some of the notable areas. It's a challenge to try and get it to 99 or 100%. And of course, if the town finance officer were here, he would be saying, don't get to 100%, because, not because the money isn't there, but because he knows from experience that you're always gonna have a bill or two come in, and if you're right at 100%, now you're gonna be overspent. And that would be his warning. But we work very closely with the town finance officer, making sure that we execute our budget accordingly. And again, I'm very appreciative of all the help I've gotten from the police commission, as well as the town offices, in that regard. Gentlemen, barring your questions, that's really all I have.
Joe, do you have any questions or anything? Any comments?
I'm good, Steve.
Okay.
Is
Commissioner?
that new antenna already up?
I'm sorry?
The antenna?
Antenna's up and working.
Yes, the antennas are up and working, they've been repaired, and we were, through some clever work, and I gotta give credit where credit is due, Jeff Urquhart down at Town Hall, he was able to get some of the cost of the antennas repair to be covered by insurance. So what had to happen is I had to lay out the initial repair bill on that. Do you remember how much? It was over $4,000,
It
right?
was close to 5.
Yeah.
$4,000 or $5,000. Yeah, I know you guys saw the bill. And then had to submit that to the insurance. So I'm not sure if that has been paid back, but it will. But important to understand is that when that check does come in, that $2,000 or $3,000 that they're gonna give us for that, whatever that may be, that doesn't go back into fiscal year 18 budget. It goes gets credited back to fiscal year 17 and balances the books. But, so that last number, that total expenditure may fluctuate a little north or south, but it won't fluctuate that much. It's basically almost a 99% expenditure for the year, which I think is really good. I mean, that's really where you wanna be.
Very good, thank you. Commissioner Goodgame, any questions, comments?
I move we accept the chief's reports.
Okay. Second on that, Joe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion further? All in favor?
Good reports.
Oh, thank you. Well, one last thing I do want to mention. So, as you know, we just finished up the presentation of the fiscal year 18 budget. We are up a little. We're up 2.67%. So I think if you remember at the very beginning of this process, Commissioner Goodgame and I were talking, and I said our budgets looked like they were going to come up about 2.63%. So we raised a little from that point. I'm very happy with the process that we went through this year with the Budget Committee. I think they did do a lot of work, and it's hard work, and I really appreciate it. And we did have some really good, honest, and frank discussions. At times, one might even call it brutal, but in a good way. But they're tough. They're doing a tough job, and I get it. So I'm really excited about the fiscal year 18 budget. I think it's a good budget, and I'm looking forward to executing it. That's the last thing I want to say about that.
10-5.
Roger that, sir.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to invite Sarah Soka to discuss hazardous waste collection, et cetera, for the town. Sarah was with us last month. Unfortunately, we didn't have television coverage, and we really felt it important that her message get out to the community. So we've asked her to come back this month and repeat it. Sarah?
Hoping that we get a good response. And if it is bad weather, it's the first Saturday of school vacation. So that might remind people they want to get rid of this stuff so the kids don't get into it. And if we do have a snow day, it'll be the Saturday that everybody gets back from their vacation, so we can still take care of it.
Thank you very much.
Can I address one thing that Chief Rondo alluded to earlier? The fellow that came to see you today and Captain Libby?
Question about the sharps,
The question about sharps, yes. The official word from the Department of Environmental Services, what you should do with sharps is you take like a Tide container, but it could be any brand, laundry detergent container because they have very thick walls,
Well, the plastic type.
the plastic,
Right, bottle
big,
type.
containers, and you drop them in there after you have put the cap over the needle, then you put duct tape or some kind of tape around the cover when you're finished, and write with Sharpie marker, because it won't rub off, sharps, do not recycle, and give that container to them at the solid waste facility, and they will put it immediately into the dumpster so that it doesn't go, absent-mindedly, somebody doesn't see it and throw it in with the plastics, and then it would get compressed, pop the bottle, and then the sharps would come out. That's not a perfect solution. It protects our guys here, but we know that the stuff leaves in that dumpster and goes somewhere else where it's spilled out on the floor. The very, very best thing you can do, and I spent 5 years with, God love him, he's passed away now, with Dave Knox, our representative. I spent 5 years with him going to the Safe Sharps Disposal Subcommittees of Health and Human Services in Concord, is to go to what's now Rite Aid, does not carry them. I don't know if they will with Walgreens, but Care Pharmacy here in Wolfeboro carries what they call Becton Dickinson, B&D, you perhaps have heard that name,
Yep.
It's a supplier, needle clips. They're about this big, about the size of the old-fashioned pack of gum, and you stick the needle in there and you just squeeze it like a miniature stapler. It will hold 1,500 sharps, or what do they call those little things you prick your fingers with if you're a diabetic?
Oh, yeah.
Lancets. And they all go in there, and then you just throw the syringe away. And there's no chance then ever of someone at the solid waste facility or someplace farther down the line of the solid waste travelings to ever get pricked. And you know what the good news is? It's like $3.75 to buy one of these. It'll last most people more than a year. It'll cost the town more than $40,000 if someone gets stuck with a needle at solid waste, because they have to go through all kinds of hepatitis C, HIV testing, and on and on and on. And it's very stressful for the person as well, not knowing, plus miscellaneous diseases they might get. So, if you're diabetic or if you have pet meds and you're giving your pets shots, it doesn't matter. $3.75 the last time I went down there at Care Pharmacy. And it'll take care of the problem, and no one can ever get stuck and hurt. And
That's a great
it's a
idea.
really cheap answer.
Absolutely.
Why they don't require that people include one of those with every box of sharps that goes out is beyond me.
Yeah.
It would be such a simple solution. Thank you for your time,
Well,
gentlemen.
thank you for coming back, Sarah, so that we can actually get the word out to the public.
We hope to get something in the paper and get some other
Yes,
information out,
for
because
20,
this
she'll
is a
probably get some.
pilot program.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to enter into non-public session under RSA:91-A:3, paragraph A, to discuss personnel. Do I have,
It's A?
yes,
I'll make the motion.
okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Balboni. I'll poll the commission. Commissioner Balboni? Is that in the, Joe?
I can hear you.
I need a confirmation, yea or nay?
I said yes.
Yes, and Commissioner Goodgame? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and yes for me as well. This time we stand in non-public session.